Okay, right. So Scott's main point is that we can't really develop a critical understanding of society or some aspect of society like sexist oppression on the basis of lived experience. Rather, that experience is part of what we're trying to understand, and that we need to focus our attention on the underlying conceptual and discursive conditions of that experience. Basically, just try to understand why people are the way they are, that they have such and such experience, and so on. She thinks, well, that's really how we could successfully do what we intend to do in terms of understanding what's going on with regard to something like sexist oppression. So this actually fits with some of the things we have seen already, I think. Perhaps first and foremost, some of the ideas that Lloyd and Bordeaux were talking about when we were talking about the so-called maleness of philosophy in terms of kind of having that hierarchical binary structure. It's the same basic idea that our thinking and our experience is conditioned by all that. And if we fail to notice that, we'll never really have any idea what's really going on. So we've got to turn our attention away from simply the way we have experience or the thoughts that we have and try to dig a little deeper to that level. And that may work well with the point that Bell Hooks made right at the beginning when she was just observing that it wasn't uncommon for women to think that their experience of oppression kind of translated immediately into an understanding of it, because she was quite critical of that move, and that would sort of resonate here with what Scott is saying as well. And we can see a connection with Crenshaw and the idea of intersectionality and critique of single-axis thinking, or thinking along in those kinds of terms, basically. What really fails to happen when certain, say, relatively privileged groups wrongly generalize their own experience, basically, is that they fail to scrutinize and adopt a critical approach to their own position as subjects of experience, to wonder why they have that kind of experience and how it might fit into the larger order. That's what fails to go on in those cases. So even though in certain ways what we see with Scott might strike us as counterintuitive, it does fit in certain ways with other things we have already looked at. Now I'm going to pause again and make another